We'll give one more minute and we'll start at 8:01. All right, it's 8:01. We'll start the meeting. Good evening, everyone, and thank you for taking time to join today's event. This event is being recorded. For those that are joining for the first time, United American Foundation is a public advocacy group based in Harford County. We are a non-partisan entity that strives to equip the citizens of our county with unity in amplifying political voice. Our vision is to strengthen residents with full awareness of political process to make an educated choice at the time of voting. For that purpose, we have started virtual series called Getting to Know Your Representative. Today, we are honored to have Andre Johnson, our councilman from District A, which represents Edgewood and Jopa area. Andre is native of Harford County and has lived in the Edgewood area nearly his entire life. He is married to Shawana Johnson and is blessed with 5 children. In 2018, Andre became the first African American ever elected from District A. Prior to his election, Andre served as a special investigator for Baltimore City's Department of Housing and Community Development. Andre also honorably served 18 years in the United States Army and has joined Baltimore City Police Department and Harford County Sheriff's Office. Andre, for those who do not know, is also very empathetic. I recall last year during the early stage of pandemic, it was when businesses were shutting down, things were very unclear. It was Andre that actually approached local businesses and offered help. And that actually, Andre, meant a lot to us. We appreciate your help at that time. And without any further delay, let's welcome Councilman Andre Johnson.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me. Thank you for inviting me to this forum. I truly appreciate it. I remember last year when you sent out the email in reference to asking for assistance, and I looked at that, and it only made sense to me that I try to do something for the hospitality community. So I truly appreciate you returning the favor and having me speak in front of this great body of people. Once again, my name is Andre Johnson. I'm the representative of District A, Edgewood, Jobtown, and a little bit of Abingdon. Born and raised right here in Harford County. I was actually raised on Aberdeen Proving Ground when it was a hospital, when they had the hospital there. So I'm Harford County through and through. As many of us, I pretty much self-made. I had a humble beginning coming up, living here in Harford County, going to Edgewood High School, graduating. Not having much as a kid, but with hard work, dedication, and commitment to self and to self improvement, I've been able to forge ahead and forge a path for not only myself but my family as well. So as a councilman, like I've in 2018, I became the first African American councilman for the district to actually flip the district from one party to another party. That was one thing, but just the other thing was just the historic nature of how I did it was simply going out, talking to people, knocking on doors and making sure that people understood that it's not about politicians or talk or rhetoric. It's about actually listening, understanding what people's needs and wants are, and being able to try to accomplish those wants and needs for the community, because it's not about a party, it's not about a person like myself, but it is about us as a whole, as a body. Because no matter what, just from my military background, I believe that, once I become uh, the leader of, whether it's a platoon in the Army or, 40,000 people that elected me, I believe that even though, uh, some people did not vote for me, I believe that they're still my family and I'm going to do right by them. So that's what I stand by. Um, some of my priorities for my district are definitely Joppatown needs a rec center. The folks down in Joppatown are yearning for a rec center. We have different rec centers in and around the county, and Joppatown's one of those communities that does not have a rec center. It serves a purpose for our aging and elderly community, but it also serves a purpose for young folks that may be wayward, that need an outlet. And I believe that Joppatown is in desperate, dire need of having a rec center. Um, Vocational training is one of my main things. I'm all about education. Education is the number one key, the number one goal of getting our kids out of poverty, reducing crime, and getting folks on the right track. So I'm a complete advocate for educating our young folks. And just the caveat off of that is that a lot of our young folks, don't want to go to a conventional college. They may want to go to trade schools and things of that nature. So that's a very big thing. In Harford County, I think that we're right now we're missing the boat on getting, serving families and serving kids in that capacity. So that's something that I'm working on in my district as well. I'm working with Harford Community College to bring a vocational training center to my area, along with working with a certain IT company to bring an IT center to the Edgewood area as well. Um, Passing legislation for minority-owned businesses, small-owned businesses. That's something that is passionate about me, because if once you have a strong um, business, business community, then that can create opportunity and create change for the community. My area, I know that you all are probably very aware of my area within the Edgewood, Joppatown area. That it's suffering for redevelopment. It's already developed, but it needs redevelopment. And I believe that we need to booster and ensure that companies feel safe, businesses feel safe to invest in a community. And because once you have a strong business community, that can turn around the entire aspect of a community. Um, and finally, because I know I'm talking a lot, but finally, uh, safe and thriving communities. I'm looking at a holistic approach as far as turning my community around, because if you have kids getting educated, if you have a strong business community, then I believe firmly that you're going to have a stronger, thriving community that has that sense of community. Um, so that's what I feel. Now, would it be appropriate right now for me to jump into the three questions that you had for me? It, you're on mute. You're muted.
Feel free if you want to address those three questions to begin with. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. So one of the questions is, do I support a mass vaccination site at Ripken Stadium? And at this moment, I think that it's imperative that we vaccinate our community, and Harford County as a whole to try to extinguish this pandemic. Ripken Stadium would be an outstanding choice, in my opinion, just because of the lay of the land and how many vehicles that we could have come in and out. So I think that would be that area right there would be a blessing for the county if we can manage to go ahead and acquire that for a mass vaccination site.
Andre, is there another choice besides that site in Aberdeen that they are considering?
Well, they're looking for areas that have adequate space. So I was told that it had to be roughly about 25,000 square feet. So that's the minimum. Now there is going to be another vaccination site that they're going to try to stand up down in Edgewood at the old Mars Shopping Center in Woodbridge.
What do you think of the Harford Community College? I think that would be an appropriate place.
Harford Community College?
Yes, because they have big parking lots and they have the traffic flow is easy because that site Mars is little congested and it is on Route 40. Exits on that shopping mall is little tricky.
Yeah, the only thing with that is that the state along with the county entities are looking at underserved communities because the average of folks in those underserved communities aren't getting vaccinated. So if you have it in that particular community, then they're saying if it's there, then they will come. Folks think that it's extremely difficult for them to travel from Edgewood or Aberdeen to Harford Community College. So if it's right in your backyard, then you shouldn't have a problem going to get vaccinated. So I think that's the mindset. Any other questions on that end?
Not at this point.
Okay. Moving on to the Abingdon Business Park. The Abingdon Business Park is pretty tricky for me because I'm a proponent in smart growth. I'm a proponent in doing things smartly. I don't like the fact that the opportunity zone, or whether it's the enterprise zone, is changed from, because it was the enterprise zone is supposed to be contiguous with the Route 40 corridor, and we already have back then we had 24, 25 vacant warehouses. Now they're talking about putting, I think, another additional over there. They're talking about putting an additional 7 or 8 warehouses up to 1 million square foot, I believe, or 1.5 million square foot. And it's that area is, excuse me, that area in itself is just going to be, it's going to be crazy because right now you can't get on or off 95. So just the traffic aspect right there alone is going to cause some major problems. But if someone can come up with a plan, because if someone can come up with a plan that really uh, suits the need of the community right there, then I'm on board. Right now, I'm kind of in the middle on this subject because I could see the benefits of having the business park there. However, uh, it's going to cause a lot of problems as far as traffic is concerned, impervious roads, you know, waterways, environmental hazards, tearing down 326 acres of trees and land. So there's a lot of things that need to be that I feel that needs to be looked at before we just jump into tearing that acreage down. Um, but I do understand that if you own it, I can't tell you that you can't build on it. I do understand that. So at this point, I think that there's a happy medium that the builder, the developer, the owner, and the community can all come together and work out something that is beneficial for us all. Um,
Just to add
Finally,
to quick point, just to add to what you just said, you had mentioned that Edgewood and Joppa area does need development. My question is, would this kind of development benefit that underserved area? And second is, I believe they are talking about adding those turf field where lacrosse and those games could be played, which used to be played in Carson Run. How does that mixture help or hurt the community in your area?
so to your first question, does it help or hurt the community? Um, I think that's up in the air because, like I said, I'm just looking at it from a micro standpoint of we've already have in the Edgewood, Edgewood Joppa area right down there, at least 20 plus vacant warehouses. So if we're building warehouses just to build warehouses, then I have a problem with that. But if you're going to build and then you're telling me that we can definitely have occupants in that warehouse, then I'm all for it. Now to your other question about copper mine, I think that copper mine could potentially be a staple for the community. It's definitely going to be a tourist attraction. It's definitely going to increase the revenue as far as you know hotel stays and restaurants and things of that nature. Um, I think that I think that it's going to be a good thing. I'm just a little nervous because at the end of the day, I'm I'm still looking. I'm sorry. I'm still looking at I'm still looking at my district and how is it going to directly affect and influence my community, because the thing about it is that if copper mine comes, but you can't promise me that Edgewood is gonna get a Chili's or a Ruby Tuesdays or something where that money can stay in my community, then I have a problem with that, because what's gonna happen is that those folks are gonna take their money and they're gonna travel up to Bel Air to wherever and spend their money elsewhere instead of those dollars staying in my community. So that is something that needs to be fixed. So I'm happy that Coppermine has come to terms and agreement with the county and is going to move forward. I'm just a little skeptical on how it's going to actually benefit my community. Any other questions on Coppermine or anything else? Okay. And yeah,
Sorry, I had a question. What about all the vacant warehouses? What are you going to do with those?
I'm sorry, say that again.
What idea do you have for the vacant warehouses that are available?
Well, if I were king for a day, if I were the county executive, or I had the power over the economic development team, then I would tell them to start looking for those businesses. And if we have to sweeten the pot for those particular businesses to take a step and come to Harford County and come to Edgewood or the 40 corridor, then we need to sweeten the pot, because all those vacant properties are doing is just going to waste, and it eventually it just becomes an eyesore and a blot on the community. So I think that we can't give away the house, but we can definitely sweeten the pot to make business owners take a real good look at Harford County and at Edgewood in totality to come here.
Any ideas to get them filled up with tenants?
Sure. Let's use the enterprise zone, and let's give these businesses some tax breaks. Everybody loves tax breaks, right? I mean, everybody wants to put a couple extra dollars in their pocket, to hire some more staff or get some more equipment, and those are things that we need to do. I mean, the bottom line is that you being here is helping the community and helping the county, and that way we can all help each other. Businessmen are here to make money. The county is here to make money, and I think that we can all come to a commonality and say, okay, what's the best way forward? Like I said, if I were king for a day, I would bring the entire business community together, and I'd say, okay, what's the best way forward for you? And then I would say, hey, I can't reach you there, but I can get here and try to come to some commonality.
So let's keep Barry Glassman out of this. Barry Glassman and all these clowns out of this. So what are you personally doing to help in the community?
Well,
are you and your staff trying to get any people to come look at all these vacant warehouses?
Yeah, absolutely. For instance, the Mars Shopping Center. I know Miss Klein personally, and I asked her if she would take a look at the Mars Shopping Center to put a Klein's grocery store.
I saw a couple people there last week. I saw a couple people looking at it.
Yeah, but that was us. We were there looking at that for the mass vaccination site. So don't get all happy about it. But she wanted that particular property but I from my understanding, the way that Klein's works is that they actually wanted to purchase the property, and the folks that own that property didn't want to sell it. But Klein's was more than able and capable to purchase that property and put a grocery store there. So those are the certain things that I'm trying to do. But once again, I'm just one person. I have very little power when it comes to doing stuff like that. Are there any other questions about that? Okay.
No, you answered them pretty well. Thank you.
No problem.
I think you and I should get together. I'm a local
Absolutely.
Edgewood person, so I know a lot of developers. So let's get together and talk about something.
Well, we'll definitely link up and and definitely talk. Finally, the last question that I have is that how can we get involved in local politics and have our voice heard and our views heard? Doing things like this, holding your political appointees accountable. Stop investing in people that don't have your best interests at heart. I'm not. I know I'm in a political position, and I may be looked at as a politician. I'm not a politician. I'm just a guy trying to do best for the people that I serve. I take on this job the same way that I took on the job as a non-commissioned officer in the Army. I look at things like this. There's a mission, and I have to accomplish that mission. If you all come to me and say, Councilman Johnson, what can we do about this? You expect me to then go and find out how we can go ahead and get this thing accomplished. And if we can't get accomplished, then we'll keep on chopping at that tree. But you expect me to do that for me. You don't expect me to be in it for, accolades or, whatever the case may be. You expect results. And that's who I am. That's what I'm about. So this is what needs to happen. You need to have your political representatives come before you and explain to you why they voted against something, why they didn't call you back when you asked for a reprieve of property tax. Why didn't they call you when many of you are business guys, and many of these political folks are coming to you and asking you for donations, but then they can't even return a call. So I'm fed up here in Harford County because it's the same thing over and over again. We're beating our heads against the wall because guess what? The same people that we donate money to or stick our faith in, they don't have our agenda at heart. You all have an agenda. I was the only one that called you guys back.
Thank you for that. We certainly do appreciate it and recognize it.
And listen, you don't have to thank me. Seriously, you don't have to thank me. But what I'm saying is that we now, as a county and as a community, need to know who our friends are and who our foes are, and then treat them accordingly. Even though we may be friends and we rub elbows with each other, but we need to know who our friends and foes are. And I know that there's a certain game that we all have to play because we want something, because people are right now in power. But I'm telling you right now that we can change the tone and the temperament of this county, and we can move this county forward in a positive direction. I'm here to stay. I'm here to grind it out and stay and to make change and to make this an inclusive county for all of us. So
Thank
with
you for
that being
that,
said,
Councilman. Yeah.
I'm finished.
I think we have one question from Faisal. Faisal, you want to go ahead?
Yes, hi, Andre. This is Faisal Said. So just because you were touching about Edgewood, and we all know that it's a commercial corridor, and one of the issues, I have a surgery center there, so I work there, so I'm very aware of it, and I know the challenges that we have to run businesses in that area. And one of the challenges is the crime. And because of the crime, there are a lot of disadvantages that in that area. Otherwise, it would have been much more flourishing for businesses. And that's why you have so many businesses that are not willing to come in that area.
Right.
So I want you to address that issue first. I do have an issue related to HIC. I will ask that question later.
Okay, to your point, you know, the thing about the crime is that, you know, I feel, officer standpoint, I believe that the way to address the crime is to address the housing situation. You would see in other parts of the county, i.e. false 90% or more homeowners and in single digit renters. And then if you look at it all around the different parts of the county, Edgewood has 60% homeowners and 40% renters. So I believe that if we address the housing situation and you know, really take a hard look at housing and get these folks that want to buy a house or that want to have good quality housing, affordable housing, I think that's a way of tamping down the crime situation. Think about Save a Lot in Edgewood, or I think it was even the Family Dollar in Edgewood. From my understanding, they didn't leave because, you know, they wanted to. They left because, you know, folks were coming in there and, you know, lifting food or lifting items and things like that. And you can't run a business like that. So you know, the sheriff's office has to come in and put the foot down. The county has to address the housing situation and the affordable housing situation, and we have to address that whole renter mentality, because, you know, folks that rent, and I'm just looking at the blight of the community, folks that rent, if the homeowner doesn't come and check on the home all the time, the renter isn't really going to do what they're supposed to do to that home, and they're going to wait for the homeowner to actually come out and maybe cut the grass or whatever the case may be. So, and Edgewood is very transient too. So you have a lot of people that are from the Baltimore area, from DC, from New York, from Philadelphia, and Edgewood, and that Edgewood area is like a melting pot for a large number of people. And you know, so we really need to address it by having, like I said, a holistic approach on that.
Great, yeah, that's a good response. I think, you know, the knee-jerk reaction always is to introduce law enforcement and increase law enforcement. But I think the long-term solutions are what you already mentioned: housing, the vocational training that we have to provide to the youngsters there to get them back on the right track. So I think it's a little bit more comprehensive than just law enforcement.
The law enforcement aspect, I mean, you can't arrest your way out of this problem. You know, I'm working with Dr. Bolson with the school system to put together a program that we can address this thing holistically, starting with kids in elementary and middle school, because those are the most impressionable times in a child's life, to see if we get them on the right track. And so I think that if we work this thing, from not only the school system, but the sheriff's office and the housing situation and the business community, I think that we can really make some strides in that area.
Great. I see another hand up from Rizwan, and then I'll come back to you, Faisal. Is that okay?
Yes, yes.
So I agree with Mr. Johnson. The housing is a really important factor in, improving the situation in Edgewood area. But I think on top of that, I mean, the housing will only improve if the law enforcement put their foot down, because the crime is not being noticed or checked the way it should be in other areas of Harford County. I think a lot of people have been given easy hand when they commit a crime or do small little things. That would be one. In my opinion, that would be one thing. And second thing would be, like Mr. Johnson also communicated during his session, that we should have some sort of clubs or places in Edgewood area for young people to go in the evening or in their free time, where they can have a quality time, spend some games, or places where they can play games, they can be with each other and produce quality time for each other, rather than involving into crime and being a gang member or something like that.
The thing about that is that, and we all know that if you give someone idle time, they're gonna do it. Eventually, they're gonna get into something, especially children. To that point, we have a rec center right down in the
Edgewood.
area in Edgewood that is right in the heart of the problem. However, the county Parks and Rec will not allow the kids really to go in there. If you walk into the rec center, then you could practically eat off the floors, because the kids are not really welcome in there. They don't have anyone really to man the indoor basketball court, or have anyone doing arts and crafts in there. The basketball rims outside, they took them down. So what do kids have to do but to get it? They're mischievous. They're gonna get into things. So, I think um the county government exacerbates the problem sometimes by thinking, okay, well, we're not gonna do this, and maybe they'll go here. You're just exacerbating the problem. So to your point, that's exactly what it is that, if we gave them something to do after school, I think we could cut down on the crime.
Councilman,
you.
on a recreation aspect that you just mentioned, is there a reason why kids from Joppa would not be allowed in Edgewood? That's first question. And while we're on that subject, what's the procedure for a municipality or a town to have a rec in its area? Is this where the county executive and the county council body kicks in?
Yes, that's where the county council body would more than likely kick in. And the first part of your question, it's not that the kids can't go to the rec center from Joppatown to Edgewood. You got to understand that those are two very different communities. So it's as if just being the councilman here, that one community doesn't want to be associated with the other community. That's why they're asking for their own particular rec center. So that's an issue, and I'm trying to build that cohesion of, okay, we're all in this together. But yeah, that's the situation is that, you know, folks in Jobtown don't feel like they have to travel, or that they should have to travel to Edgewood.
Faisal, I'm going to come back to you. Go ahead. What's your question?
Yes, Andre, my next question, I'm not sure whether this is the appropriate time for it, but I'm going to ask you that question. And that is that, as you know, we are trying to make a mosque, a place for worship on 549. And I think you're aware, and you were present in the DAC meeting that we had. And you're aware of the controversy and all the hue and cry that was associated with that thing. And even for the DAC meeting, there were the whole place was full of people objecting to something like this. It was very disappointing for us living in the 21st century to have this kind of a reaction for a place of worship was very unexpected. So I do want to know, in what way can you be an advocate for the Muslim community, which is just trying to have a place of worship in this area, and kind of help the Muslim community get that place?
Well, let me say this, and I mean this from the bottom of my heart, is that I was there because I wanted to be there, because you won't see council members at DAC meetings, but I wanted to be there because I know what this county's about, and I know, and in order to fight that part of the county and that hate, I stand shoulder to shoulder, arm to arm with the Muslim community, and getting a mosque, erecting the mosque. You don't have to ask me twice. I will be, your number one advocate. I did not, and I will say this again. I did not have to be there, but I was there because I believe in it. The situation down in Joppatown, where they called it the Muslim community. No, like, no. If that were on my watch, I think my head would have exploded, because it's just wrong. And we're in the 21st century. We're supposed to be an inclusive country, and for people to show who they really are, we really need to band together and build a coalition to fight that hate.
Thank you. Again, very much appreciated, Councilman. Are there any other questions anyone would like to ask? I have some of my own here too, but before I do that, does anyone else have a question? All right, Faisal, any follow-up right now?
Okay? No, I'll wait for your question first.
Yeah, so I wanted to just basically ask, or generally speaking now, what's the future of local politics here in Harford County? What direction do you see it going into, especially in relationship to minorities in Harford County? What's your perspective on that?
It's hard to say. I think on the local level, I think that I think that, that the 40 corridor could probably obtain some more minorities and folks of color. I don't, and this is just me being honest, I don't know if the county is going to allow a minority or a person of color to win a countywide race. I can't see that. But I do, and this is my belief. I've been in this seat now for 2.5 years. I can see the change. Change is coming. And certain people are gonna fight tooth and nail for that change not to happen. But you all know that once it starts, you can't stop it. And change is definitely coming.
Yeah. Yeah, you wish?
Yeah, actually, I could not agree with you more, Councilman. Change is definitely coming in our community itself. We find there are almost more than 120 families, and at least I would say 3 to 4 people eligible to vote from each household. And when I say 125 families, I'm actually not using all the numbers. It could very well be 200 families. And we have seen this local election in December, the November election, that the result when it came out, even though we had lots of pretty much Republican or other supports, we can see the minorities percentage increases in the election process and also selecting their representatives. So I think constantly we need to band together, work together, and work hard actually to make sure that our voices are heard.
But the influx of minorities coming into the county, but you also have younger, more progressive, whether it's white Americans that are coming in that are more sympathetic to a cause, and that's the key. Is that if you can shave off a certain amount of those voters right there, then change is coming. And just broadly, by the numbers that we saw from 18 to the numbers that we saw in 2020, that we can definitely see a change happening. So I think that the fact that the county has younger, more progressive professionals coming in, I think that's going to bode well for us as well. But once again, we've got to hold their feet to the fire too, and make them coalesce with us. So.
Yeah, thank you for that again. For those on this call and appreciated your message, liked your message, what can they do to support you, Councilman?
Well, I hate to be like this, but go to andrejohnson.com. Definitely, just if you like if you like what you hear, and you want to talk to me personally and offline, then don't hesitate to reach out to me. I will definitely send my email address, my personal email address, my personal cell phone number, and if you can support me, if you like financially or whatever, then do that. If you don't, then there's no hard feelings there. But definitely get engaged in the process and support people that support your agenda.
Right. Thank you for that. Does anyone else have any other questions?
Yeah,
You go ahead.
yes, Councilman Andre, first of all, thank you for being part of the program. I had a question about schooling, and I was hoping we get a little bit more feedback. I know there's a lot of elementary schools in all of Harford County, left and right, and then it dwindles down to middle schools, and then there's not that many high schools that I see that are in, strategic areas like Abingdon, for example. Abingdon is an area where there's not a lot of, high schools. And it really kind of paints a picture where either the kids are going to Edgewood High School or they're going to Bel Air High School, and kind of, the people in the middle are kind of lost in the shuffle, right? Is there any plans of building high schools as it is in the state in the next, let's say, 10, 15 years?
Well, right now, I don't foresee another high school popping up right now. They just put, I think it's $100 million into building Havre de Grace High School. I think it's Havre de Grace High and Middle. So that's $100 million right there. So I don't foresee them building another another high school. Now, and then what they're gonna say too is that, okay, well, you have Edgewood, you have Patterson Mill, and you have Bel Air. So why do we need another high school in Abingdon? And the numbers, the number of our population has to dictate if we're going to get another high school, and that could be coming soon, depending on what the numbers look like when the census come out. So the census is going to dictate whether, how much money we get, what type of services we're going to have. And so, I would say, definitively that I would hold off on telling you if we're warranted to get another high school based off of the census numbers.
Thank you.
We have a question from Nishat. Go ahead, Nishat.
Good evening. This is Nishat. Councilman Johnson, you have a strong background in coaching. We have many youth logged on today. What message or takeaway do you have for them?
Oh, wow. So let me first say to the young folks out there that I understand the plight of this whole COVID environment. You probably whether it's running up and down the field or the court or whatever the case may be. I completely understand. Losing almost a year of schooling along with athletics. But what I can tell you is that whether you're a senior in high school or whether you're in elementary school, the thing that I teach my kids the most is that you have to stay committed to your craft. Those days that you don't feel like practicing, that you have to will yourself to go out there and practice. You have to make sure that the old saying is that if you stay ready, you don't have to get ready. So that's what I would tell the young folks. I would also tell them that I tell a lot of my kids that college scouts, if you're planning on going to the next level and playing whatever, college scouts are looking at kids in the 7th grade. So your grades count. And you may not think that they count until high school, but they're looking at your grades in middle school. So make sure that you're doing the best. Make sure that you're taking those AP classes. Make sure that you're studying and that you're getting the best grades possible. Make sure that you're doing things in the community and helping out the community, getting those community service hours to put down, because year one of millions of kids out there that are trying to move to that the next level, and you have to separate yourself from those kids. So make sure that you're doing everything possible to put you to elevate yourself and put you in that 1% so that you can get to the next level.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Well, it looks like no more questions at this time, Councilman. Whereas you want to conclude this meeting?
Thank you, Councilman, for taking time. We really appreciate it. It was very informative. I'm sure more questions to follow. As Hassan mentioned, this is a recorded version. Our members will see this again as well. We appreciate the fact that you support our community, especially minorities in this community, to build a mosque. At the same time, to support us in our local businesses as well. So we continue to, we want to thank you once again, and we will continue to work with you. As Arshad mentioned, any support that you need from us, we will try our best, and we look forward to reach out to you as well in our times of need as well.
Could you provide the folks that want my email address? Could you give my email address to everyone, or I can tell them right now?
Yeah, if you give it to me right now, I'll put it in the chat window, and then we'll send it out later as well.
Okay, so my email address is elect Andre V Johnson @gmail.com.
Is that V as in Victor?
V as in Victor. That's my personal email, and my phone number is 443-473-4643.
Great. Thank you for your time. We appreciate it. And if nobody has any questions, we'll look forward to meet again in the nearest future.
Well, thank you all very much. I appreciate it, and take care.
Thank you, and God bless.
Have a good night.
Good night.